Good morrow, and welcome to another edition of Half Sen's Table Talk Podcast. With me today is Gingy.
Hello.
And Shane Geekly Gab.
Good evening.
And I am your host, Tony Liskowskis. Yeah, people have screwed. My name's been screwed.
I always
up
hear
my whole-
Laskowitz.
Yeah,
I'm
everyone always says that.
I'm like,
People at
there's
the
no
dealership
T.
today said Laskowicz.
Yeah,
There's
And I'm
no
like,
T.
Laskovich.
There's
yeah,
no
it's
T
been
in it.
slaughtered my whole life, so
Yeah.
I might as well just lean into it.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm not. It's hilarious.
It's okay. People have called me Scene, Macromac. Like, come on now.
Somebody's actually called you
That's just
Scene.
stupidity,
Yes.
though.
Yeah. I
There's
feel like
been
they're trolling
intelligent
you.
people that have screwed my name
I
up.
feel like that's a troll.
Somebody. it was like a few weeks ago, like right before we went out for a while for COVID.
Yeah.
Like, I went to Domino's, and the person who came out and brought me my food called me Scene. A grown ass person, an adult, looked at my name SEAN and went, "That says Scene."
That's Scene. That's Scene right there.
What? Oh my god! I was like blown aback by it.
Did you look at him, blink 3 times, and go, Sean?
I shit you not. I heard this person say "scene" and I went, "Yeah, sure, give me the pizza."
You know how
He said the name is Dumas.
I don't know if it's that I'm more aware of it now. When you say "scene," the first thing I think of is it's one of my biggest pet peeves on the internet. One of the more popular ones that people have screwed up over the years is obviously grammar police used to really jump on people that screw up the your.
Yeah.
You know, Y-O-U-R or with the apostrophe R-E.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people don't know the difference. The one that seems more prevalent these days than that is people saying that they seen it. And
Yeah.
it's probably the same people.
I seen it.
Yeah, the people saying I seen this, whatever. And I don't know why, but that one kind of drives me up a wall too.
Telling you, man, I've done seen it.
Yesterday, I actually saw a Facebook post where there was 2 people back to back and another person later in the same post that said, I seen it too. I think it was a Marvel Future Revolution post. I should have been surprised.
It's
Yeah, they're talking
that
about
causes me stress.
I seen it somewhere, and it was
That makes my brain hurt.
It's one that causes me stress. 2, I do it sometimes.
Where you say I seen it.
Yeah. But I'll say it out loud. I try to be as proper as possible when I'm typing. But like when I'm talking, I'll say some wacky shit. Like things I know are wrong. But that's just like if I don't talk as fast as my brain works, I'll lose it.
It's one of those that I don't like ever bother like calling people out on.
Yeah.
But and I don't do the your thing any longer too. I mean, it's a long time ago. I think there was like this fad.
Yeah.
Grammar Nazi.
Grammar Nazis like calling people out on the misspelling of your. And people
Yeah.
using the possessive your in the wrong.
One of my favorite ones I've ever experienced was my wife when we were at the pita place in Muskegon, and she said, "What the hell is falafel?"
Oh.
And I
Falafel,
said,
yeah.
"You mean falafel?" She said,
I do it on purpose, but whenever I'm at a fancy restaurant, I always order the filet mignon.
"The fillet mignon."
1, I hate that. 2, Shane, that was your wife that said that?
That was my wife that said that.
April, if you're listening, how dare you?
It's funny. I've been using that joke for forever too, and I'm the only one that ever finds it funny.
I did.
You
That's
did
the first
it at
time I heard it.
Kazumi's.
Yeah, I did do it. I ordered the fillet. Yeah, we were at a hibachi. I used it recently.
You don't even get the fillet
we were
mignon.
at Kazumi's. It was a hibachi steakhouse, and I ordered my hibachi with the filet mignon.
Everybody at the table, everyone at the table,
And,
all
and a face.
collectively sighed. Oh God. Well, that's kind of that's not a segue into the topic for today, but I'm gonna make it one. So obviously, with language, there's a lot of things we know to be true, right?
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Right?
I'm following.
There's things that we know are right, like how to like say use your.
Okay. Yeah. Like
Okay.
where there's no there's no argument that could be made. It just is what it is.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so that same thing can be said about like things that we know are right about our planet, right? That there's 4 oceans, there's 7 continents. These are things that we know are right.
I'm following, yes. So
Okay, that most
these are
know.
factual
Yes.
things that you cannot argue. Okay, yes, I'm following.
Okay, guess what? There's a new ocean.
Is its name Billy?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, still following.
People whose job it is to observe our planet have found a 5th ocean.
Billy, I'm still stuck on Billy Ocean. I'm sorry.
I know.
See, someone appreciates my jokes.
Yeah, get out of his dreams and into his car. 1980s called. They want the reference back.
I'm uncomfortable. All right, so
I am actually wildly intrigued by where this is going. But so this is a reputable source that you found this information.
yes,
That is it worthy of quoting the source? Doesn't matter. It's just
I'm not sure off the top of my head where I read this.
okay.
But
it was reputable.
I know
It's
that
reputable.
I know that it was reputable.
Okay.
As it was like an NBC article or whatever.
It's just some
I
of the
don't know.
shit you've been coming up with lately makes me go like,
I know, right?
Well, I mean,
That means I'm doing my job right.
Homeboy came up with a wizard. I guess both of you guys.
We need to come up
Hold
with
up.
a game show where we read Tony these stories and he has to tell us which one's real.
Right.
That'd be an interesting game show.
Let me
It
get
just
this
seems
straight.
okay. Now I have a better understanding of your factual statement in the beginning because, instinctively I want to tell you, shut the fuck, like you're pulling my leg, like because seriously, if you were to try to sell me on that, we've lived here this whole time.
Yeah.
And somehow we glossed over the fact that there's this large body of water.
Yeah, there's
unbeknownst
satellites.
to us.
There's satellites
Okay.
mapping our Earth as we speak.
I'm going to give you the floor back. Explain.
Okay. So, I learned this as I was reading this article. Oceans are defined by their currents. So if you have an ocean, let's say the Arctic Ocean,
Okay.
its current acts in a specific behavior. And that behavior is different than the Indian Ocean, and that's how they separate the two. So the two oceans are differentiated by how their currents behave. So that's how they found a 5th ocean.
That's okay. I actually learned something today because
Yeah, I didn't know
would
that.
not have, if you were to ask me, how do you differentiate between these, an ocean from one ocean to the other? Like when does one stop and the other one start? I would have.
Yeah, me neither. I wouldn't
came up
know.
Yeah, I
with
couldn't have
something
told
else,
you.
yeah.
Nah.
So this 5th ocean is the body of water directly surrounding Antarctica. And it's literally a circle around Antarctica.
Okay. I feel it appropriate to insert a visual representation.
But for anybody watching this podcast on YouTube, you will see the picture of what it is called Southern Ocean here.
Oh, it's a
It's the Southern Ocean.
It's a Southern Ocean. Now that's just lazy.
Yeah, it is. That's lazy writing. That's lazy writing. So,
somebody contacted the writers from DC.
So I found this ocean.
It's in the south.
I don't know
right.
what to call it. So it's
Southern.
down from us.
Southern.
So I guess it's
That's what we should call it. Southern.
So we calling it the
I'm just
Southern
gonna-
Ocean because it's southwest.
South?
No, there's
I'm just gonna make a note right here that I very much
it's
appreciate.
delicious.
I very much appreciate that you're trying to Brian Regan this scenario. You're pulling out your inner Brian Regan right now.
Somebody went through that exact experience and went, no, I'm not calling it the Southern Ocean because it's to the south and around Antarctica. I'm calling it the Southern Ocean because I sprinkled Creole in it.
What is that?
Idiot.
That's Creole, boy.
You stupid. So this brings me to my interesting point about this whole topic is that I find the ocean scary as fuck.
Yeah, ocean's pretty.
All of 'em.
Pretty scary.
All
Yeah,
5 of them now.
We really don't know what's at the bottom of most of them. So
There's such scary shit in the ocean. The wildest one to me is lobsters, because
What?
hang on.
Okay.
Hear me out. No one knows how long a lobster can actually live, and there's this weird thing about lobsters where they don't stop growing from the moment they're born to the moment they die, ever. No matter how long they live, they will never stop growing.
There's no gauge for how long a lobster?
No, because everything that would tell someone how old a lobster is, they molt all of that stuff off of them.
So it feels like there's got to be some sort of like isolated where somebody's gotten one from birth and raised it and then that there's some sort of measuring stick for, hey, we've had 1,000 lobsters at this point in captivity.
maybe they got hungry.
There's lobsters that have lived over 100 years.
Okay.
There's
It just seems like there's still got to be some sort of like
there
frame of
has to be.
reference to
There has to be. So I'm going to show you anybody who's watching this on YouTube, you can find it on our channel, which I'll link down below somewhere, wherever. This is a picture of the largest lobster ever found. And it looks big, but from the tip of its claw to the back of its tail, that is 5 feet. That is a 50-pound lobster.
That's good eats.
Mhm.
And this was found in 1929.
Wow.
This is actually the only evidence that it ever existed, because in transport from where it was caught to a museum where it was going to be held, the lobster was destroyed.
Why? Well, why?
Car accident or something?
Like
or?
it was damaged somehow. That's all there is on information about it.
Okay.
Like in transportation, the lobster was damaged, and there was no way to preserve it.
They ate good that day, that's for
Right.
sure.
Yeah. Wow.
50 pounds worth of lobster.
Now, do you guys like do you seek lobster? I'm not someone that ever.
I don't like seafood.
Oh, that's right. He doesn't.
I love
Yeah.
seafood. I love lobster tail.
The
so
only
I don't bother with it.
time that I ever get lobster is if I'm at a very expensive buffet. I don't. Okay. Because I think my mentality is I never want to put all my stock in lobster as like a main or major part of my meal. So I would never let's say we went someplace and I had to order it off the menu. I feel like that's a big commitment because there's something in my brain that makes me go, I don't know. Like if I want to commit to that being
Right.
the majority of how I'm going to fill my stomach. So it feels different if I have to actually order it and pay for it as part of the main entree.
Yeah.
But if I'm at so for instance, Amanda and I were at the MGM and they have a very pricey, the MGM in Las Vegas, they have a pricey, we were there for fight week. I have some friends that are in the UFC. We're there to see them. And we thought that, so the MGM is typically the place where a lot of the fighters will want to stay. And we thought maybe the buffet while we were staying there would be the spot to go to save a couple bucks, because when you're in Vegas, if there is anything that they can find that you can't avoid while you're there, it's very jacked up price-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Very
So
taxed.
travel,
It's a pain point.
Very
travel,
taxed.
yeah, travel and eating are a very quick way to spend an assload of money in Vegas. I think it's pretty normal for a couple to spend $200 to $300 a day on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, pretty normal. This buffet at the MGM was, I think, all in with the tip and everything. So you have to pre-tip. You actually pay.
Yeah.
You don't pay when you're done. You pay before you go in, and then they seat you, and so you have to tip ahead of time, which is seems counterintuitive to tip ahead of time because you
right.
don't know.
I
that
tipped
could
you
go
$20.
either way.
Right, you don't know how the service
Yeah,
is
yeah.
or
So
how
it's
the
just
food
$20.
is.
You better treat me right.
Yeah, yeah. So which is funny. You almost you almost got to paint. They're painting you in a corner where now I gotta.
Yeah.
So this particular one was, I want to tell you, it was cruising in on $150 for both of us for a buffet.
Almost 75 a piece.
Yeah, it was very expensive, and it had the lobster there.
Yeah.
And so now we're eating lobster like that. My brain changes to where now I'm trying to get my money's worth.
Yeah, right. You're like, I need this steak, this lobster. That's a surf and
so
turf
now
right
I'm
there.
just like, so now I'm like, I was eating.
I paid $75. I'm getting $75.
Let's be fair too. Right. You slather enough butter on just about anything, and you're like, "That is some good ass lobster."
That's some good ass lobster.
And it's basically because I've slathered it in so much butter. It's good. If you've ever had lobster with a bunch of butter on it, it's pretty damn delicious.
It's bomb.
Yeah, it's
bomb diggity.
So back to my fear of the depths of the ocean because of lobsters.
Specifically the Southern Ocean.
Let me.
Now I know why you don't like SpongeBob. That big bulky Larry the lobster scare you away from it.
Larry's terrifying. In all seriousness, the reason why like lobsters scare me is because it's an unknown factor. Like, God forbid somebody with nefarious intentions has a perfect lobster in perfect health and keeps it in captivity for 150 to 200 years and just keeps feeding it, and it becomes this like Godzilla 2 fucking monster.
You're talking about raising a kaiju, is that what you're talking about?
Like that's totally within the realm of possibility. Like we don't know how long lobsters can live. They could
be funny if you had a funny name too, like Release Filbert.
Right. They could live, they could potentially live for hundreds of years. The only scary part about that is that they won't ever stop growing. They could be infinitely large. If given no predators, it could turn into a monster.
Well, I mean, you got to think too, as it grows, the list of predators
it exponentially shrinks.
Yeah, diminishes pretty quickly.
As like even a lion at some point is gonna look at that lobster and I'm good. I'm just gonna grab one of these.
See the size of that claw?
I'm just gonna grab me a couple gazelles and call it a day.
Right. Meanwhile, there's a lobster just crumbling mountains in the background.
I don't know how this lobster got into the depths of the jungles in Africa, but he is pulling trees out and shit.
I would assume he blessed the rains down in Africa.
I hope so.
Back to the ocean though. I agree. Personally, there's never felt like an upside to venturing out into it. It just feels like there's just so many things. And I feel like psychologically, it always gets doubled down on either people that, from shark attacks are probably one of the most prevalent ones where people are like, oh my God, drowning.
Yeah.
Being lost out at sea. Holy crap. Some of the scariest.
There's some terrifying things that come with
there's so many things. And you're talking about some of the worst ways to die. Being eaten has got to be at the top of the
drowning.
list.
Drowning's bad.
And then let's combine the two. Let's be drowned. Because a shark doesn't just like post up at the top of the water when he's chowing down on you.
No, he'll bring you down and drown you.
Yeah, and I don't even know if that's his intent. It's just that his dinner table's down at the bottom of the ocean floor. I don't think he likes to hang out and watch.
He's just trying to feed his pups.
Yeah.
So that brings me to other things in the ocean that terrify me to my core. And this is going to be a very picture-heavy topic. So if you want to see all these, watch it on our YouTube channel.
This is reminding me of the Boondocks when Sam Jackson's character is talking about there are two things we know. There are known knowns and there are unknown unknowns. This sounds like a real unknown.
Yeah. So this next thing is called a barrel eye fish, and it's fucking terrifying. So this thing, those are not its eyes, by the way. Its eyes are in the front of its head.
Yeah.
It looks like 2 USDA grade eggs.
Yeah. So this thing has a transparent head. Its eyeballs can go completely backwards in its head and see things behind it without turning around.
Now, is the glowy bulbs on his head to attract his prey?
Like an anglerfish? I read that they're olfactory organs. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Let me look it up real quick.
I wonder if I watch a lot of sea life documentaries because my son at 3 years old would much rather watch that than a cartoon. So I watch a lot of that stuff, and that's one thing I learned about the anglerfish is that the little luminous ball on his head is to attract its prey.
lure. It's a filtering
I have this
organ.
mental picture now that you've shared that of like an anglerfish where there's like, I just picture like Nemo swinging around nearby, and he's like, "Is that house music playing?"
Well, actually,
just listen to like
actually, you nailed it on the head because in the first Finding Nemo, they actually get lured in by an anglerfish and almost killed.
Yeah,
Dory and
speaking of,
I've seen it. I just don't remember it.
Right.
Speaking of anglerfish, that's on the list of things that terrify me.
They are terrifying. Look at the teeth of this thing. I already know what they look like.
This is an eerie anglerfish.
Yeah, look at the teeth on that thing. They are frightening.
That thing is the stuff of nightmares.
It's like, and I don't know if I knew this already. Poisonous, yes.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think they're poisonous.
It's fucking scary. That's it.
Yeah, holy shit.
To my knowledge, I don't think they're poisonous, but man, they can bite.
Yeah. They don't bite anything. They stab you a bunch of times.
It looks aggressive too.
It
looks like,
they're aggressive fish.
The next thing is something called a black dragonfish.
My kid knows this one well too.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
that's a ball of fuck no.
it looks like.
It looks very small.
It looks like
which is also scary.
It looks like eel and a piranha fucked.
Yeah.
The next thing actually is the last one. This is called a big fin squid, and I straight up believe wholeheartedly that this is not a fish or a squid or whatever. This is an alien. This thing has
so this thing because of the color of the photo, it leads me to believe like this is wildly
this is at the
deep.
bottom of the
this
ocean.
Is super deep.
Oh yeah, I've seen this before. This
picture. Thing hunts for its food. This is a predator. Mm-hmm. This thing hunts for its food. It looks like right. It looks exactly like a predator.
All it's missing is dreadlocks.
Exactly. So this thing drags its 100-foot tentacles across the bottom of the ocean and just snares bottom feeders and then sucks them up to its mouth and eats them.
Oh, is there any footage online of one of these things?
Not that I know of. Like all I could find was pictures, and they're all blurry. Like this is at the fucking bottom of the ocean. Like
look at the top of it. It looks like an evil llama with tentacles.
Right.
Look at the head.
Like this.
Yeah, and it's stuff like that's that deep too. They're built a certain way to be able to handle all that pressure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're talking about like it makes you wonder too, like how much stuff exists because I feel like every year they're discovering new stuff because they've only done so many explorations in some of the deeper. Because it's a big to do to send a human being down there because of all the
James Cameron is one of the only people to have ever gotten to the actual bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, there's a lot of because of the depressurization.
Sorry, I'm just having
stuff.
I know.
Raising the bar, good episode.
So the reason why the ocean is
it's got to be wildly dangerous. It just seems like in today's technology though. There's so many, but I get that it's super, super dark down there too, because the sun can't make it all the way down there. But it seems with all of the drone technology that we have these days that there's got to be some way for us to see a lot of what there is to offer in the ocean now.
I think the problem is even with the technology that we have now, the problem is that I think people are having a hard time solving the pressure problem at the bottom of the ocean because it's hundreds of thousands of pounds of pressure in every direction. And like creating some kind of submersible that can withstand that kind of pressure at every angle is what the problem is. Light isn't too much of a problem, but it's very limited. Like you shine a 10,000 lumen flashlight down at the bottom of the ocean, you're only going to be able to see 10 feet. Like it's like the void.
Yeah.
I wonder if because it's denser, it's harder for light to pass through.
We're sending people to. We're gonna be sending people to Mars and shit. Like we have rovers on Mars right now that've been there for years. and they're still there, able to use solar panels and be self-sufficient and send data back to us. It just feels like that we live here already.
Right. Would you argue that NASA though probably has a bigger budget with that type of stuff than like
NASA
marine aquatic?
Did you know that
No,
NASA
I feel
actually?
like there's got to be more
scientists.
motivation to, because let's say this. Let's say in researching wildlife, things like that are really deep. I mean, you could discover a bed of the oil that you could.
Right.
True.
I mean, I don't know.
That's fair.
The idea though that you could harvest that those positions though, like in the ocean, would be pretty over the top. I don't know how you'd be able to do that. But like
That's fair.
That's my other argument though, is because my wife is very and always has been into, and this is something that we're gonna actually go do at some point. She's super into Bigfoot. And with today's technology, my argument is if he existed,
We'd find him.
yeah, with all the trail cams and everything, I guess that's where I'm with technology. You can't, like, you used to be able to, when we were geocaching several weeks ago, we went to this spot where we were like, wow, it doesn't look like anybody's been here in a long time. You just never know because there's so many trail cams and everything. There was a point in time, like, the woods were a place that you could go when you were a teenager up to no good to, like, drink alcohol or look at dirty magazines or whatever kids do. That was like a safe haven, is to go out in the woods.
Sure was.
And that's really not the case any longer because of like where technology is. The more populated an area is, the chance that you're going to catch something on camera nowadays. So it just feels like the next step would be to go into places where curiosity is it's not a fact of security or anything like that. It's the fact that we have to have the ability at this point to, I don't know what the budget is like to send a rover down to the bottom of, but I know they exist and I know that they've done it. I just know that it's not frequent. It's not something, and I've researched it on some level. It's just, I'm not drawing back the what they've discovered and how often, but there are some, like, I want to say, as far as the ocean goes, they keep finding new stuff.
Yeah, it's 80% undiscovered.
Yeah,
like think about that number. Like you play a video game and your game progression says you're 20% done. You haven't played that video game yet.
Yeah, you're like, I still have a lot of this game to play.
You finished the tutorial.
Yeah, basically. Tutorial and gained a couple levels. That's about it.
We've only discovered or explored 20% of something that is on our planet. And that's terrifying.
That's pretty scary.
But they're able to tell us an asteroid is made of
precious metals.
Here's the thing. Here's an interesting thing, right? NASA's first directive was not space. It was the ocean. Really? NASA used to be an ocean exploration unit.
Interesting.
My whole thing with, like, I know it's like a funny meme, but like, what the fuck did they find down there to make them want to get off the planet so bad?
Ironically, they found Bigfoot.
Right. Like, what could you possibly see at the bottom of the ocean that makes you want to go to space so bad?
Speaking of Bigfoot, did you ever inform your wife that you hired Bigfoot about a year ago?
That's also terrifying.
I just speak well now.
Yeah, I do think that that's pretty wild that NASA used to be nautically motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. But also, when we compare the two places, space and the bottom of the ocean, it just feels like, man, space exploration on a high level. Like, Elon Musk is pushing to, like, start, like, interplanetary, like,
colonizing Mars and stuff like that.
Yeah, but he wants to even keep going further out there. He wants to, like, discover everything out there. Yeah. And that dude's, how his brain works, like, we'll find a way.
Yeah. Like, exploring past our solar system is like the final frontier.
Yeah.
Like, we're locked into this solar system. We can't go anywhere. because the distance between our solar system and the next solar system is generations away.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would have to have a plan to have people fuck on a spaceship, make babies, raise them, teach them to be astronauts, and then have them do the same thing a couple of times.
Oh shit, we hit the wrong button.
Yeah, to get to the next solar system, that's what it would take.
Yeah, for real. It'd be like the fifth or sixth generation.
Yeah,
would finally land there.
Well, here's the other question too. Like, how much of colonizing another planet or even the moon is out of necessity too? Like,
right.
There's some pretty wild stuff that not only a lot of it's self-induced, like the stuff that we do with the planet, not just from the perspective of how much we've abused all of our natural resources and the pollution and all the dumb stuff that we've already done in very short amount of time we've been here, that we've accelerated the death of the planet. But on top of it, there are talks very recently about potential nuclear war, even in which us wanting to help Ukraine, in like let's say that initiated, that would start a domino effect that ultimately would end civilization.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is, it's nuts that could even be on the table. Like that could even be a discussion where someone can get to the point where they're like, yeah, this argument that we're having over land, let's just blow up everything and no one gets anything. And like everyone dies. That just, wow.
That makes a whole lot of damn sense.
Yeah, it's I don't understand any of it.
You would believe that there'd be this understanding like we could never go there, but it's strange the motivation to possess the ability to do that in order to not do it.
Right.
It's wild when you think about it.
Yeah, that's really what it is too. It's all about who's got the biggest stick, who won't use it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the craziness is that there are some rulers in some of these countries that because of the dynamic of how how they run things, that there is there's not a ton of accountability when it comes to decision making.
Yeah.
So some of them are left to like their own devices where they can literally, where there's not like, I mean, if there's probably someone that's in charge of what Joe Biden tweets here in America. And if enough people were to say, you know, hey, we think that's a bad idea, they could subvert, you know, but in some of these other countries, though, that does not exist.
Right.
Literally, one guy's perspective could be like, you know what? I don't like those guys down there in the South Ocean.
Let's wipe them all out.
Wipe them all out.
Let me just insert a little opinion. I don't care if it's unpopular or not. I don't even know if it is or not. Presidents don't need a fucking Twitter. Like,
I think after our last president's Twitter account, I'm pretty sure they're filtering what the president says on Twitter now. Should have started with him, but
you're at on average in your 40s to 60s, right? On average for a president.
Yeah, you know what?
Why do you need a Twitter account?
You know what's wild? I actually looked up. I don't remember what motive it is. It's funny that you bring that up. I actually looked up. So Joe Biden is the oldest president we've ever had.
Yeah.
And it was kind of eerie. The youngest presidents started beginning.
Yeah.
And from there, from the beginning, every single year they got older. It was really, really uncanny. I almost want to look this up.
So if then our next president has to be older than Biden.
Oh, God.
And I don't know if they just happened to be.
That's not good.
Mr. President.
Do we have to hire the next one on their deathbed?
Maybe. Okay.
So then we just rooting for the best vice president at that point.
Barack was pretty young.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just the way that they listed them.
Okay.
But Joe Biden is the
he's the oldest president
he's
we've
the
ever had. Yep.
oldest. Age at start of presidency 78 years and 61 days, and then Trump was the second at 70 years old. So like Biden really.
Yeah.
Yeah, he shot up almost a decade.
They jumped it by a
Barack was
decade.
only 47, which is,
Yeah, around the age that I had specified. Like,
Yeah.
you're 40 to 50.
Yeah, 40 to 50 seems.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just the list I was looking at.
I don't know why I always have this like notion in my head that like the president and the vice president is like a mentorship program.
Yeah.
Like the vice president is the trainee, but like that wasn't really the case.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
It's
I think
like-
Cheney was older than Bush Jr., wasn't he? Pretty sure he
Like
was.
it's just like a weird notion that I have in my head. I'm just
Yeah.
like, this is like a Big Brother system. It's absolutely not, but
Yeah.
I don't know why I even think that. I just do. Just a weird thing.
Yeah. Southern Ocean. We have the other thing too about this Southern Ocean thing is that I haven't heard anything about it until this very moment when you brought it up. Like this is the first I've.
Well,
Yeah, same.
Be honest.
You'd think this would be a big.
Be honest. Is finding another ocean that's only around a specific location, Antarctica, and has no other purpose, is that big of news?
I mean,
I don't know. I feel it should
they
be.
took
feel
Pluto
like.
out of the planets, so I mean,
yeah, and I took that as a direct attack on my soul. You don't fuck with our planets.
yeah, leave Pluto.
leave Pluto
alone.
alone.
Yeah, well, at some point, it's actually related. Do you know there was a point they were trying to change around how the zodiac dates.
Yeah.
worked. I was like,
They were trying to make me a Leo.
Yeah, I would have been.
That's bullshit.
Mine would have changed also. I think a lot of people would have changed.
Now I'm curious to see what mine would have
And,
been.
and I would have become a Pisces, and I've always been an Aries. And I remember I was like, I was kind of like, I was same boat. I was like kind of pissed. I was like, no, I'm not a fucking fish.
Hey, bro. Hey, bro. What you got against Pisces?
They're fucking stupid. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
I'm
on
just
that note,
kidding.
see you later.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Walks into the wall.
Yeah, it's like I'm a Virgo. They were trying to change me into a Leo. I'm like, that's totally different.
It just and that seems like stuff like, well, however you got to the math that made me an Aries in the first place, you can't just switch that stuff up later down the
Right.
road and be like, yeah, you
by
know
the way-
what? I'm going to we're gonna adopt this different ideology and just reinvent it on a whim.
Right.
I don't know. I just
They
felt
said, by the way, we did some calculations.
Yeah. It's
and
So I actually, it's funny because to bring this up as well, because the other day I Googled to make sure I was still like some under the radar shit. Didn't
am I still in
happen.
Aries?
Yeah. I just was like, I just wanted to make sure some under the radar shit, just like the Southern Ocean not being discovered, didn't happen. Where my zodiac sign changed without me knowing about it.
right.
right.
Yeah, that's all wild shit, man.
Yeah.
Like, when I was growing up, they were like, all right, there's 4 oceans, 7 continents. You know this now. All right, cool. Now fuck off. Go to recess. Like, this is just like basic knowledge. The shit that you need to, like, you don't need to know it, but you do.
Right.
And like, now there's a 5th one.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm 30.
Yeah.
Are you trying to like change my opinion from 30 years ago? I don't like I mean, like you could have easily just gone about your day and went, yeah, I mean, the current's a little bit different, but it's probably just because of the landmass that it's surrounding. So it's not, I don't know if we can call it an ocean.
We certainly can't call it Billy
Pluto
Ocean.
identifies as a moon.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's neither here nor there for me. Like, it's interesting as fuck, but I like, it doesn't change anything, really.
Yeah.
Like, there's a 5th ocean. Cool.
So-
now kids in school nowadays are going to be learning enhanced addition.
Let's
and
not
that
talk
there's
about
5.
what kids are learning in school today, because kids are learning that Christopher Columbus discovered America, which is not the case at all.
Yeah,
So
and that
I don't
weird-
base much off that.
That weird math now. What is that called?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
dumb.
The downward,
Yeah.
I don't know what
Yeah.
it's called.
Yeah, the
apparently
moment I
it's-
saw how that worked,
I still don't understand it.
Yeah, well,
Neither do
my
I.
first inclination was like, I don't trust anything you get. Like to like overcomplicate something that's been typically simple.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like, why?
What's that Rick and Morty line? This seems like something with a bunch of extra steps.
Yeah,
I mean, as far as showing your work, and that's the legitimacy of it, is as far as showing your work as a student, that's why they prefer that style, I believe. It just looks like Chinese algebra to me.
Yeah.
that's what it is. That's my topic for the day. The ocean. What scares me about it, and lobsters.
Moral of the story of today is oceans may change people, but the scary shit within it does not.
Yeah. And also beware of lobsters.
Lobsters can become kaijus.
All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us on another episode, and we will see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.